like to begin by thanking Mr. Willie for, I think, what a genuine case where he explains, he didn't just come out in all guns blazing, just want to attack my arguments apart. Appreciate the fact that he genuinely explains why is it that he has come to this belief that he has not believed in God, and I hope to respond in humility. In response, I hope to respond to them in humility. Now, let me see. He says he rejects the God theory, the fact that God exists, because there is no evidence for it. As a Christian, I find this very thing, because I find this a bit difficult to accept, because I find, I'm not choking evidence down people who don't see it. I'm just saying that there are lots of arguments which I have not used today, namely the cosmological argument. I have not used them today. The teleological argument, which suggests, the fine-tuning of the universe needs to be explained by, either physical necessity, chance, or design. I have not even touched those yet. I have not even come to the moral argument. I don't intend to either, because I'm looking for relevance just as much as he is. I'm not interested in throwing jargons here just for the sake, let's throw some jargons, just impress on people. That's not the case. I want to be sincere as he is and explain to you why I've come to this position. And I feel there is ample of evidence in belief in God. Number one, so I find it, I disagree with the fact that you cannot, there is no evidence, but I find there is evidence everywhere. It's like looking at a bottle, I was having a discussion with him just before it began, the topic came up, looking at a bottle half full. One person looks at it and says it is half empty, another person looks at it as half full. When I look at everything around me, I see God. When he looks at it, he says he doesn't see God. So, and he says that there is no convincing reason, but no, this is my problem here. If this is the case, and I understood Mr. Willie correctly, his answer to the above question, does God exist, would not be no, God does not exist. His answer would be, I do not know. So if I understood him correctly, basically he's not really asserting that God does not exist. His question to you, his response is, I do not know. He's uncertain. He seems to be uncertain because there is lack of evidence. Now, he also raised up his first objection, that if God exists, why is there evil in the world? And he also classically, he brilliantly said that the Christians tend to dismiss this rather too easily by using the free will argument more often than they should have used it. I agree with him. The free will argument should not always be, be used to just dismiss the argument clearly, because the free will argument actually, which says that God gives us free will so we mess it up, hushes the question, but it does not really answer the question. So, in response to this question, why is there evil in this world? Why is there imperfection? Why is there war? Why is there genocide? My answer would be to this, would be to go back to the Bible, look at Genesis chapter 3, and you find that man has fallen. The Bible describes that man is fallen. When I say man is fallen, reason is fallen. Reason is fallen. So everything about man, in fact, John Calvin talks about this as total depravity. He's totally depraved. So even if God was standing right in front of you here today, you would not be able to see Him. Not because He's playing a funny game, amusing Himself playing a funny game of hide and seek with you. It is the fact that our eyes have been blinded to Him as a result of the fall. You want to know more about this, read just the first 3 chapters in the Bible, you come to this. It is not hidden in deep inside, right at the beginning. So my answer to this is not just free will. The fall tells you, why is it that you cannot see God? Why is it you look at space so big, you cannot find a shred of evidence for God? Moving quickly, he talks about hell forever. C.S. Lewis had a famous quote. He said, there are two, which I'm not saying that I agree with, but here is what C.S. Lewis responds to this question when he was asked the same question. He says that there are 2 kinds of people in this world. One group that say to God, thy will be done. And to them, God embraces them in heaven. And to the other group, God says to them, thy will be done. And in doing so, He sends them to hell. Now, this has been used to disprove to counter the argument that why God sends people to hell forever. But I don't think it's satisfying. I want to go beyond this. Hell, why do people go to hell? Why God pushes them forever is because sometimes we have to ask ourselves the question, do we really want God? Heaven is God's home. Do we really want God? Is there a desire inside every one of us that we want to see God? And if the answer is no, then why do you want to go and be with God? There's only one other place where there is no God, and that will be hell. So hell is not so much, medieval art has painted it in a picture of fire and everything. Is that really what hell is? we know it's a place of suffering, but is it the way medieval artists have painted it? That God is cruelly enjoying torturing people? I don't think so. I think hell is just a separation from God. It's an eternal separation from God. If you want to be separated from God, this is my Christian understanding. I'm speaking as a Christian. God gives hell for those who want to be separated from Him. And heaven is those who want Him. And I don't think heaven is how Hollywood makes it, the seven-star suite, like Las Vegas, city, the floors are covered gold. That's not what heaven is. Heaven is a place of worship, where people get to be with God. So, again, I don't see God being vicious here, wanting to punish people just because they don't believe in Him, or just because you happen to be born on the wrong side of the world, as he puts it. Now, moving quickly, a vast universe. He mentioned that the universe is so vast. Why would God create a universe so vast, and just only keep man, in this part of the thing? Now, you only talk about issues like this when you have limited resources. For example, if I had $100 in my note, and you say, why do you spend $78 on this when you could have used this for something else? You only talk about why someone overspends when they have a limited resources. You could have used your resources wisely in this way. But when it comes to God, ladies and gentlemen, there is no limit to God's resources. The whole universe, everything belongs to Him. So the issue of how vast, why is the universe so vast, is I believe, with all due respect, irrelevant. Because God has no ends. God has no limits. So why would that question even be raised? With all due respect again. So this would be the way I would answer that question. Moving on. Why not bend the laws of physics more often than they are? I think God does not just bend the law, because God, I believe, created the laws of physics. God cannot destroy something He Himself created. Why would God do that? I believe God rather intervenes to the laws of physics. If I have this microphone here and I say, that if I drop this microphone, the laws of physics say that gravity would pull this microphone down. That is the laws of physics. And I don't think God destroys the laws of physics or messes with it. I think God intervenes to this. And if I drop this microphone and I catch it halfway through, I've intervened to it. I did not defy the law of physics. I just intervened through it. So we need to understand that intervention of the laws of physics is not bending it, it's not breaking it. God has the power, God has an unlimited capability of intervening through the laws of physics. For example, C.S. Lewis used this illustration. He was talking about, if I put like 10 ringgit in my drawer today, and I were to come back tomorrow and I put another 10 ringgit, laws of arithmetic tell us I would have $20 the following day. But would that really be so? What if a thief has been to it? The thief would not have broken the laws of arithmetic, he would have broken the laws of this country. So we have to get a point. It's intervention. Science tells you, the laws of physics tells you what this would be, what that would be, if there is no intervention. But if there is an intervention, it's not a case of breaking the laws of physics, it's an intervention through it. A higher law, like the laws of gravity is supposed to pull a plane down. The laws of aerodynamics overrule that law. It takes a plane forward. So that would be one way I would respond to it. The remaining 2 minutes. Why? Let me go. He spoke about evolution. And to this, I would genuinely want to ask a question about evolution. Evolution, he says, explains it, if I understood him correctly. How on earth does evolution explain how life came about? The theory of evolution itself, developed by Darwin, only tells us when life has already come into being from a cell. Evolution begins from a single cell. But what happens before that cell? How did it come before that cell? Evolution doesn't do that. You have another field of study for that. So how do you explain how at one point of time you have non-existence and another point you have existence? You cannot do that. I'm not reverting to the cosmological argument. I'm not supposed to build another case here. But I'm just raising a question with regards to evolution. Evolution doesn't explain anything. Evolution is not provable. It's a science, I think Dr. Cox said today, science is repeatable. Do we find evolution repeating itself again? We can't, if evolution is a sticky word here, okay, I have remaining 30 seconds. Evolution is a sticky word. If you're talking about evolution as a species changes, yeah, I believe in it. Microevolution, I believe in microevolution. But if you're talking about everything was evolved from a single cell, there is simply no evidence for such a grand claim, and I wish to hear more evidence, because I think it's good that we be open to the truth. So, I think time will only allow me so much to address the questions that have been raised by Mr. Willie. Thank you so much once again.